working on it more and more so we can have really cool ways to predict chess matches of all kinds, not just on chess.com. But Carlsen pre-predicted to win this match by 19.5 to 10.5. Right now on pace to stay right there with it. And like you said, as much as those seem extreme odds, Magnus Carlsen, coming off of St. Louis, for those who didn't follow that match, is playing chess like nobody else in the world right now.
Yep. Looking back at his matches, he even played in this format. He hasn't lost any blitz portions yet, and I think he lost narrowly to Hikaru in their match in the bullet part. But in blitz, I mean, he has been just so consistent, so consistent. I mean, it's always he builds up a lead and maybe he allows too much counterplay, and then he tells us in the post-game interview, "Oh, I did too much counterplay." But he's always coming from a position of strength. He's just always starting off well.
Yeah.
And he's one of the last guys on earth you'd expect to blow a lead. So Wesley should already have a sense of urgency. Magnus is so good at controlling the pace of a match.
Which is one of the reasons I brought up the opening approach there from Wesley. He goes back to this sort of 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 ready type of whatever. I don't even know the name of it, but knight f3 and b3. And, at some point you wonder if he may have to go to some more mainline stuff that he would have prepared for over-the-board tournaments and try to test Magnus in sharp waters, because I agree with you. I think you got to get wins early if you're Wesley and not let this match get out of control. We have a question from the chat about whether Magnus knows he's on camera. Magnus knows he's on camera. He just that's Magnus on camera. There you go. They both know they're on camera. And what's going on here? Wesley shook his head, but this is a weird position. I don't think Magnus is going to be able to hold on to that d4 pawn. Isn't White just a little better here? If this d4
there are some tactics. Yes, White is better if he wins the pawn, but there are some tactics here against f2, and I'm not sure the best way to handle that, because if you do bishop takes d4, you win the pawn. Maybe not in the long run. Actually, no, it just loses. Bishop d4, knight d4. There should be some sort of pin with a dark squared bishop.
Yep.
So he can't win the pawn comfortably, and well, Black's next moves, Danny, are going to be like bishop f5, rook a8, and rook fe8.
Just showing the fans the line you were talking about on the analysis board, where why Wesley can't just go straight forward and gobble that d-pawn, and so he settles on knight c2.
I like this line, because if knight c3 you can take with your bishop, which you don't want to do, but you have a quick follow-up of knight e4.
Yep.
Maybe that solves your issues. You have to take.
That may be what he has to do now, right? Magnus sort of forces his hand and says, all right, I may lose the pawn, but I get rid of your dark square bishop. And that's important, everybody, because as the board opens up, if this bishop on g7 doesn't have a challenger, you got to be careful of tactics on this diagonal. So here comes queen e7, I anticipate, yeah, and the reason is that Magnus can go get the c5 pawn, but Wesley goes right for that. Ooh, that's a surprising move, going back. So why doesn't
that is a strong move.
Okay.
If rook d3, bishop f5, if e4, you can do bishop takes e4. If rook e3, you run into bishop h6. So this looks to win material, Danny. Like queen takes a1 is coming. You either win the knight or queen takes a1. No, now this position is still quite imbalanced. It's a knight and two pawns for the rook. You can argue for both sides there. Depends who coordinates better.
Yep. Yeah, White has a pawn for the 2 pawns for the exchange on both sides of the board, and a strong square on b6. Black would love to play a move like b6 there, everybody, but immediately you'd have to worry about things like knight e5 with tactics on the diagonal. So Magnus plays rook b8, and he's going to try to undermine this outpost square on d6 with a move like b6 as soon as he can. But initially, this bishop on g2 is causing problems for that.
I agree. Like when I first looked at it, I didn't realize there was 2 pawns in a knight. This is a position I think most blitz players would take White, because practically speaking, the rooks aren't great at all. I mean, they need open files. The knights have outposts. I mean, that knight on d6 is great. The other knight can like go to c3 to d5. White's pieces are better than than Black's rooks right now, and I think that's why White has more than enough compensation. You'd love to play a3 b4 as White in terms of an objective, solidifying the c5 square and also using your majority.
Yep. And immediately there may be tactics on b7 here. If White wants another pawn, you could probably capture it and then gobble your piece back with bishop takes c6. I don't expect Wesley to do that, because likely that actually would have, and he doesn't. But But here comes the knight to d4, Eric, right? We like this idea of a6,
Oh, this is
knight
a
d4.
serious threat. A6. I'm going to do maybe potentially bishop takes c6 and then knight d4, and argue
Ooh,
that
even
that
better.
that outpost on d4 is permanent, and also c6 is such a big weakness that white would be positionally winning. So a6, bishop c6, bc6, knight d4. I love white there. I still like white a lot.
And white may still go for that exact type of
Yeah.
idea, take on c6 and put the pony on d4, and indeed he
He
does.
is.
Here
He's
we
going to
go.
go for that. And
Look for
Magnus
Magnus to maybe
that.
give up the exchange here. Rook takes d6 and try to draw.
You can do rook takes d6 or first bishop e4, preparing rook takes d6.
Or bishop d5, but then there's maybe e4. You have to be careful.
Yes.
Because if rook d6 takes and bishop takes e4, everybody, white has the intermezzo knight e6 check.
Very nice. Very nice. No, this is definitely Wesley in control.
Yeah. Could be a huge moment in the match here. We highlighted Wesley needing to strike back, already down by 2 games, with huge odds favoring the world champion to win this match. So this has been a great game from start to finish by Wesley. So
Wesley handled the tactics and this very aggressive approach by Magnus, and now he finds himself in a close to winning position. All he needs to do is make sure his king is safer. I'd love to play f3 and g4 for my king, not only trapping black's bishop, but getting my king off the back rank and slowly but surely push these queenside pawns down the board.
Yeah, I almost love your idea,
but it's just a way in case you ever worry about a back rank issue. But he doesn't even think so, because he controls the c file and the knight on d4 blocks the d file. So Wesley's comfortable just pushing this through.
Yeah,
this is a big win. He needs this. He needs this. It's 3-1 right now, and this has been a very consistent game. The players, by the way, they do play quickly, Danny.
these are both. I mean, I don't know what we're on pace for here. I know initially our match prediction said 30 games, which, by the way, is on the higher side, so that's not a surprise. Our algorithm and metrics predict that the average games played in these matches, Eric, is 28. That's what we've had overall, but this match was predicted to have up to 30 games played. So, and right now they're on pace for that as Magnus.